Alina sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her phone screen, waiting. It was past midnight, and Jake still hadn't responded. She knew better than to hope for a good night text or even an apology for canceling their dinner plans last minute. That was just who Jake was, unavailable, detached, and always making her feel like she was asking for too much. But she never complained. She told herself that love wasn't about grand gestures or constant attention. Maybe she was just being needy. Maybe expecting effort was selfish. The next day, Mia, her best friend, didn't hesitate to call it out. "Alina, why do you keep doing this to yourself?" Mia asked as they sipped coffee at their favorite cafe. "You deserve someone who actually makes you feel wanted." Alina sighed. "It's not like he's a bad guy, Mia. He's just busy. He's not good at expressing things, but I know he cares in his own way." Mia scoffed. "Caring isn't just a feeling, Alina. It's action. He never makes time for you, he never prioritizes you, and you keep making excuses for him." Alina wanted to argue, but deep down, she knew Mia was right. She had been settling for breadcrumbs, convincing herself it was a feast. That night, as she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, she wondered, was this really the love she deserved? Little did she know, everything was about to change. Alina first met Ethan on an ordinary Tuesday. She was running late for work, juggling her coffee, phone, and bag when she bumped into him outside her office building. Her coffee nearly spilled, but Ethan caught the cup before it could tip over. "Careful there," he said with a small smile. She mumbled an apology, barely looking at him before rushing inside. But fate had other plans. Over the next few weeks, she kept running into Ethan. At the cafe downstairs, at the bookstore she visited on weekends, even at the park where she liked to sit and clear her thoughts. Each time, they talked a little more. Ethan was different. He didn't try to impress her with smooth lines or exaggerated stories. He listened, really listened, to her words. He asked about her favorite books, remembered the little things she mentioned, and never made her feel like she was an afterthought. One evening, they walked through the park as the sun set, the sky painted in hues of pink and gold. "You know," Ethan said, "love isn't supposed to feel like a battle for attention. It's supposed to be easy. Like breathing." Alina laughed softly. "Easy? Love has never felt easy for me." Ethan stopped walking and turned to her. "Maybe that's because you've never had the right kind of love." Something in the way he said it made her chest tighten. For the first time in her life, she wondered if she had been chasing the wrong kind of love all along. As Ethan and Alina grew closer, Jake grew more distant. He barely called. When they did meet, he was always distracted, scrolling through his phone or talking about himself. He never asked how her day was, never noticed when she was sad, never put in the effort to make her feel valued. But Ethan did. One night, Alina and Jake sat at a restaurant, their conversation feeling more like small talk between strangers than a couple. "Jake," she said suddenly, "do you even love me?" He looked up, surprised by the question. "What? Of course, I do. Why would you even ask that?" She swallowed hard. "Because it doesn't feel like love." Jake frowned. "Alina, love isn't some fairy tale. It's not always going to be exciting. You're overthinking things again." Overthinking. He always said that, as if expecting effort was unreasonable. As if wanting to feel cherished was too much. That night, Alina sat in her apartment, staring at her reflection in the window. She had spent years convincing herself that love meant tolerating indifference. That relationships were supposed to be full of doubts, not certainty. Then Ethan's words echoed in her mind. Love isn't supposed to be a battle for attention. A tear slipped down her cheek. She had a choice to make. Stay in the comfort of what she knew, or walk toward the love she truly deserved. The next time she saw Ethan, she had already made up her mind. They sat by the river, the city lights reflecting in the water. The air was cool, but Alina felt warm beside him. "I ended things with Jake," she said quietly. Ethan turned to her, searching her face. "Are you okay?" She nodded. "For the first time in a long time, I think I am." A soft silence settled between them before she spoke again. "You once told me love should feel like breathing." She smiled. "I think I finally understand what you meant." Ethan's eyes softened. "And what do you feel now?" She took a deep breath, the air filling her lungs, light and easy. "Like I can finally breathe." Ethan reached for her hand, and this time, she didn't hesitate. She had spent years convincing herself that love was something she had to chase, something she had to prove she was worthy of. But now, As she sat beside a man who never made her question her worth, she knew the truth. Love wasn't supposed to feel like begging for scraps. It wasn't supposed to be about settling. It was supposed to be steady, warm, and certain. And for the first time in her life, Alina finally had the love she deserved.